All right. Welcome everybody. So we have a guest, Kenya Mitchell, and she's here to tell us the situations that she's dealing with in the state of Georgia. And I believe you're dealing with something in Douglas County. We have been talking about corruption going on in Fulton County, but people from all over have situations when it comes to dealing with the justice system or the legal system. And I also want to encourage the viewers, if you have a story that you want to get out there, please send me an email, danawiththedata@gmail.com. So let's get into it. We have Kenya Mitchell. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
And then we have Miss L.A. Pink, who's been on the show several times. And L.A. Pink, you're the one who brought us the story of Kenya Mitchell. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. And then, of course, we have Judge Joe Brown, who is the legal expert, which is why we're doing this.
The rooster in the hen house.
Right. All right. So I want to hear from you first, Kenya Mitchell. Introduce yourself and tell us, your story, your situation.
Yes, hi, thank you. My name is Kenya Mitchell. I've been a resident in Douglas County for about 10 years. My parents been residents of Douglas County for about 20 years. And we've been here in Chapel Hill area. My son, Malachi Mitchell, was 21 years old. He he made a decision to sell a firearm on January 29th, which it's a legal firearm sale. He was 21. He was legally able to do it. It was a legal firearm. So he and another associate were in contact via Instagram. The buyer reached out to my son, Malachi Mitchell, to arrange a time and place to buy the weapon that he had been inquiring about for about 3 months prior. So he reached out to my son, Malachi Mitchell, to see if he had any firearms for sale or anything. Malachi did. He said he did have an ARP that was $800. And the guy kept having money problems. Every time it was something about he was having problems with his bank account. He had to pay for a class. He had court fees. So, and he did this over a course of 2 months, dragging it out. My son still held on to the firearm. My son was busy working. My son is a cable security wiring technician for the major hotels around the country. So he makes $38 an hour. He's a graduate from Chapel Hill High School. He went to college at West Georgia. He had a career that he was doing. They fly him all over the country on Delta. That was his background. He also just got his insurance license before he passed, which is the field that I am in. I am an insurance adjuster. So fast forward, the day of the killing, the guys told my son that he had found money in a shoebox. So my son, they arranged to meet. He came to my home right behind my house. He came to pick my son up. That's the address. And the reason I know this is because my son, he was just going out to make a sale, I guess, because he left his other phone on the bed. He had just been eating Wendy's that I had got them. I just saw him before I went to bed. I went upstairs around 10:30. So he was in the house. His TV was still on. The phone that was on the bed was connected to his phone that he had with him. The iPhones were synced together. So I saw the whole conversation and the police did not know. So fast forward, I get woke up around 2:40 a.m., 2:20 a.m., my apologies, by my daughter saying that his best friend is looking for Malachi. We have to find him. So I go to the scene. I look at his locations. I get to the scene. It's no crime scene tape. It's a corner office there. It's a one police car. Nothing that looks like a crime scene. My son is on the ground. I get there around 2:40, 2:46 in the morning because I follow his location on his iPhone. When I get there, they tell me, how did you know to come to the location? They've been treating me like a suspect since day one. I went down to the precinct trying to figure out, hey, is my son alive? Is he not? When I got down to the precinct, his phone was pinging at the precinct. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what side of the fence he's on. Is he not alive? Is he in jail? What's going on? They did not tell me. They just continued to investigate me to ask, how did I know to come to the scene? So after that, I got frustrated, got up. The lady came out. She said, the perpetrator who shot your son said his name was the guy's name is Malachi. That's how they told me. Fast forward, I didn't hear anything from any investigators, any detectives for 6 months. I didn't hear from anyone about my son's case. They never came for condolences. The only thing they did was come to my door to give a positive identification for my son. Meanwhile, they let the guy go the same day at the scene. The killer left the scene in the vehicle that he killed my son in. They let them leave. They didn't do any bookings, no mugshot, no police report, no record of my son's murder. Now, in my heart, I believe that they wanted me to sleep through the night because my son still lived with me. And I wake up and be like, oh my gosh, where's my son? Missing report. Come to my house a few days later. Hey, I'm sorry. We found your son with multiple gunshots. We don't know what happened, but we're going to figure it out, because they never arrested the killer. They didn't know I knew who the killer was because I had my son's phone. So when I asked them, is the killer's name Cameron Ashton? They said yes. I said, and you let him go? They said yes, due to the evidence we had in the statement we had at the time, we made the best decision. Now, I was a little confused on how they let him go within 5 hours of killing my son before I even knew if it was my son or not. So I knew then I needed to get an attorney. We got an attorney. We did a civil suit against the killer. My attorney found out that my son was killed in his mom's vehicle. That's who picked him up. And the father, he was on the phone with the mother and the stepfather, helping cover up what he had done, and whoever officials that they know. I got my own private autopsy. I paid altogether about $9,000 to have Dr. Downs do my son's autopsy. Dr. Downs is the person who did the autopsy for Aaron Hernandez. He came from Charleston, South Carolina, to do my son's medical exam in Savannah. He told me in March, Miss Mitchell, I hate it had to be your son, but this journey is going to be worth the while. I didn't know what he meant then, because I was so just
Okay,
in grief.
can you tell us, this is going to be very difficult to go through so somebody gets the gist of what happened. I understand the pain. What happened?
Okay, so what
just
happened?
get fast forward. Just tell us what your version of the facts is. What do you think happened?
Okay, the version of the facts is this is a cover up. My son was murdered. He had 4 shots to the back of his head. According to my autopsy report, that's 25 pages.
No. Don't go to your autopsy report.
Okay.
Just tell us the conclusions you're going to get. Okay.
Okay.
And then you can explain, but just what happened. You say he got shot in the back of the head 4 times.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
And you have a person of interest that you think is a suspect.
We have a confession from the
right?
killer. Yes, we have a confession from the killer.
What are you calling? All right. What are you calling a confession?
He admitted to shooting my son when they pulled him over, and the videotape that I watched.
No. Hold on. Wait. I have no idea what you mean when you say, and nor will anybody else when you say when they pulled him over. Who is they?
Okay. Douglas County Sheriff's Department. They said
okay, so Douglas County Sheriff's Department has an alleged confession from him acknowledging that he shot your son. Now, did this person pose any justification or present any justification as to why he did this?
He said he was in fear for his life.
Is there any information you have as to how the two of them got together? You're saying apparently this had to do with a sale of a firearm your son was going to conduct with his assailant?
Correct. I have the full conversation. I have
the
video.
Not yet.
Okay.
Got to figure out what happened. So your son, after a lot of fits and starts, goes to sell a firearm to this known individual who winds up giving a statement to the local law enforcement authorities that he shot your son. He claims self-defense, or he claims that he was in fear of his life. but your autopsy shows that he got shot in the back of the head.
Correct. And they pulled him over for reckless driving.
4 times. That's not of any use to us right now. Now, to get to where we are today, you're saying that for some reason, local law enforcement has stonewalled this investigation and has done essentially nothing on it. It's your contention that your son was murdered. Do you have a particular motive that you would assign to this homicide? In other words, why would this guy do it? You don't know.
No, from conversations, from conversations that I've seen, it seems as though he's been pretty like he's always reaching out to my son. Happy birthday, twin. Happy this. He's always reaching out.
You're talking about reading text
messages. Yeah, it's almost like he looks up to him. Yes. It's almost like he looks up to my son. Like, hey, I know you know about this. You know where I can get this. Like it's almost, the messages come across as though he looks up to my son and they're kind of like, associates, but my son don't really mess with him like that. But
but see, you're confused. See, look, if you're going to get anywhere with this, you have to be hard hitting with your presentation. Now, we're trying to give you an audience so that your message can get out, so it will encourage local law enforcement to do their job. But I understand these details are what they are, but they are supportive details. We need to focus on the main issue, like what happened. That's like saying the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, but you're focusing on what somebody was doing when they were on board a battleship, which is interesting, but it's not to the main story.
Okay, so the main, I think I get what you're saying. So the main, so this is the gist of everything. The conversation that I saw between the killer and my son. My son got in the car at 11:32 p.m.
Now, what do you mean you saw the conversation? You read a text.
Yeah, I have my son's phone, so I was able to.
Now, get your language together. You don't see a conversation. You read a text.
Okay.
Yes. A lot of people won't get what you're talking about if you say that.
Okay. So
go ahead.
I read the conversation via text on Instagram between the killer and my son. And when I read those messages on Instagram, the last message was my son saying, "Yo, you in the black truck." That was at 11:31 p.m. I have ring footage of the black truck coming up at 11:28, 11:31. My son, the killer calls my son at 11:31, and then he hangs up at 11:32. So that's when he saw my son. Like, okay, my son got in the car between 11:32 and 11:33. The killer called his mother. That was his first phone call after he killed my son. And according to the interview that I saw, the investigator asked the mother, "Can you show me what time your son called you in a panic after killing Malachi?" And the mother said, "Okay, yes." And it was 11:35. Therefore, my son was killed within 120 seconds. They ambushed him. And my son had 2 different caliber bullets in his head. He had a 38, he had 3 38 bullets and 1 9. So it was 2 different shooters.
How did they tell one was 9 and one was 38, since essentially both are .355 or .354 in diameter, meaning inches?
I had the private autopsy done, and then the GBI forensic ballistic specialist.
What is GBI? Georgia Bureau of
Investigation.
So they're saying one was fired from something that has the characteristics of a 9mm semi-auto pistol, and the other one generally has the characteristics of a 38 special revolver, which is actually .355 to .357. Okay, all right.
Yes. And the thing in evidence, the only gun that was in evidence was a 9 Glock. My son's gun, the ARP, was never fired. He didn't have any bullets in the magazine, and he didn't have any bullets.
Okay. Have you been given an explanation as to why nothing further has been done?
No, they've closed the case with 0 charges.
What do you think is behind this?
Something way bigger than we can imagine.
Are these people that
Corruption.
are involved perhaps witnesses for somebody's prosecution on a drug case or something like that?
Someone asked me that if it was an informant. I have no idea because the only thing that I've heard is the sheriff is protecting whoever the driver was, because according to forensics, the driver was not the shooter. And that's the story that the DA told. But the driver was
Okay.
not the shooter.
Do you have any suspects for as to who the driver is?
No, trying to figure that out.
All right. Now, you have a pending civil action?
Correct. My attorney in February that I first got, Malachi Mitchell, she filed a civil suit against the
We
killer.
don't need to know the names because they're meaningless to me. I've never heard of these people, so I
Yes,
wouldn't.
sir.
Okay. So you have a civil suit pending.
Yes, sir. Against the killer and his parents. But
Why the
now that
parents?
because he was driving their vehicle and he was on the phone for 41 minutes after he killed my son and drove around with him. He killed my son in my backyard, and then he drove around with him. And no one ever rendered aid to him. No one ever rendered aid to my son. They just rode around with his
So
body.
you're saying that if he had an accomplice and had 2 different caliber bullets, somebody shot him from the back seat?
Yes, sir.
Your son's body is in the front seat, I take it, or he's being carried around in the front seat.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I made that surmise listening to what you're telling me, but you never mentioned that. That's why I ask you, what is your theory on what happened?
I think they were trying to hide my son's body and dump it somewhere.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I asked you,
Oh,
what do you think happened in terms of how the homicide occurred? I just came up with a conjecture based on what I've heard from you that if you have 2 different caliber or 2 different sources of bullets, 4 in the back of someone's head, that would imply that your son was sitting in the front seat and somebody shot him from the back seat. Perhaps 2 people in the back seat, and there's a driver.
yes,
So
sir. Am
that
I
would
able
be
to show a
approximately
photo?
4 feet in the car. Go right ahead. Okay, well,
You able to
okay,
see?
you're looking at the autopsy photos. He's shot in the back of the head 4 times.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I'm looking at would not be indicative of the direction that the shots came from, other than the fact that they're in the back. So if you've got 2 different types of pistols involved, that would imply 2 shooters. You've got
Hold on,
close
that was the
range.
gun.
Hold on, what you're looking at, if I go back,
Go down, go
you're
down,
showing,
go
go
back.
back,
Go back the other
you're
way. Go back the other way where the bullets are. Right.
just
Go
the
down. One more
photo
time.
just below that.
One more time. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Those are the bullets.
Okay, I'm not interested in the bullets. Go down
Oh,
further. You've got some speckling, which indicates that the shot came within 5 feet of the deceased. Somebody fired the gun within 5 feet. All right, or less. Somewhere from the looks of it, about 2 to 3 feet behind the victim. Now, that indicates again somebody's probably in the back seat. Your son is in the passenger seat in the front. Somebody's driving. Now, the question comes up, is the known individual one of the people in the back seat, or is that the driver?
I believe the
And
shooter. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, what's your speculation?
The shooter, the one who they have, Cameron Ashton, I believe he was in the back seat and someone else was driving.
So there's a third party driving, 2 people in the back seat, one of whom is the person your son was on the way to sell the firearm to.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know? Well, anyway,
I have that
I was going to
conversation.
ask you a question about how they find that the weapon that belonged to your son was not loaded with any ammunition when they found it.
It's in the report.
Okay, that's in their report. Okay.
Yes.
And that's saying they didn't find any loaded magazines or any ammunition in the chamber and no evidence of it having been recently fired. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
All right. Now, they have just indicated this is an unsolved homicide or a justifiable homicide.
Justified. They said it's justified. And these are
How
the
did they come up with 4 bullets to the back of the head as being justified by self-defense? Or are they saying they would have to come up with a theory that if your son was shot while he was in the front seat of the car in the passenger side, on the passenger side, that he would have been attempting to attack the driver who is to his left and the individuals in the back seat who each shoot him twice in the back of the head are supposed to be defending him, the driver from an assault by your son? That doesn't even make any sense in the context. So now let's fast forward a bit. What's going on in this county?
corruption. It's a high level of corruption, and it's an elite group. In the words of the news reporter, it's an elite group of all races in Douglas County that look out for each other.
What are they
My
up to?
autopsy, they've been
Not
doing it
your
for so
autopsy.
long.
Right
So
now, the mechanics of the homicide, assuming the information is accurate, are indicative of probable cause to secure indictments. Now, that's speculation, assuming that I've got an accurate recitation of the facts. The problem that we are having right now is why no action has been taken, because that does not seem to any form, shape, or fashion justify a conclusion of justifiable homicide unless there is some determination by evidence that you don't seem to have in front of you that your son was attempting to commit a violent act upon somebody else in the vehicle.
Mhm.
I'll send those, just send those documentations. I'll send you the email to her so she can put it up on the screen. And then that way she can show a clear version of it, because right now it's not clear.
Well,
The
yeah,
thing
but
that,
what we're concerned with here for the bigger picture is corruption
Mhm.
in Georgia. So
It
what
says
is
here,
it that these people are allegedly doing, this coalition of folk that would cover up this, what looks to be an obvious criminal homicide? What are they doing?
Can I say
I don't
something?
think they're.
And then before, and she can go ahead after when I say this. If her case was the only case, there was another gentleman that was killed on the same exact day as her son, and both of them are dealing with the exact same people with the not in the exact same form. One was labeled a homicide, and one was they let him walk off of self-defense, but it was labeled a homicide with the GBI. The other gentleman was labeled a suicide, and he had blood all over him. Was even a bullet, a shot in the head, and he was drenched in blood. They labeled his as a suicide. So if this was something that Douglas County would had just done with her son, then we would be able to not have the discussion of corruption. But being that there is now not similar as far as how they were killed, but similar as far as both of them were murdered.
Hold your point. We've got 2 separate homicides on the same day with the same set of suspects, but Your local law enforcement is claiming that they were, in
Not,
both instances, justifiable.
not with the same suspects, not with the same people. They were
With the
two
same,
different people. But well, you're talking about with law enforcement with the same corruption
with the same
Yeah.
offenders.
factor. Yes.
So, in other words, on one day, law enforcement is saying we have two incidents of justifiable homicide. One of them is a suicide, but the suspects in both of these homicides are the same individuals. In one case, they're riding with your son, and two different guns are used to shoot your deceased son in the back of the head 4 times. And that's supposed to be self-defense. And then the same set of suspects is involved in another homicide where that's supposed to be what? Suicide?
Mm-hmm. But he
How
drenched
did they
in blood.
Yeah, well, how do you get the same set of 4 suspects in a suicide? The set of not 4, but 3 other people are suspects in a suicide, and they have yet to release the name of the driver to you, yet they have talked to the person that admits that he pulled the trigger for what? All 4 shots or 2 shots, or what is he saying? See,
He's
here's the
saying
deal.
No.
Look, I'm a cop, I'm a detective, let's say, and I'm talking to somebody. What happened? All right, I shot because I had to in self-defense. Well, we've got 2 firearms involved. Who's the other guy that shoots? So do you have a gun in each hand like you're in some kind of Wild West movie? What's going on here? Who is the other guy with you that fires 2 shots? And who's driving the car? See, if they make that statement, considering that you are the mother of the homicide victim, you're ordinarily entitled to that, particularly since they're saying that they have closed the investigation. So why don't you have information as to who the passenger is that's accompanying the shooter, who's known, and
They
who the
said they had to take out.
driver is?
They had to take
because
out and
See, that
delete.
doesn't make good
Sorry,
sense.
King. Go ahead.
because
See, but that you have a civil suit pending, and any decent lawyer should be able, through discovery, since there are no pending criminal charges, to get the names of the persons who are involved. Next thing is, under American law, they would be required to provide you with the names of the witnesses for the civil action. Why is it at this date that nobody has provided the name of the unknown driver and the unknown second passenger in this car, along with the named suspect who it confesses or not? Well, it states that he had to shoot your son.
because they are protecting, according to the DA, there were only 2 people in the car. That's the story that they're going with.
The driver and the person in the back seat. Who's the person in the back seat?
No, the driver and the passenger.
Okay, so it's 3 people in the car. My son is in the front, it's a driver, and then the killer is in the back seat. When they
Which one is the one he's supposed to go see?
the one in the back seat. The one in the back seat is the one who came to pick my son up to buy the firearm. He was just supposed to.
Okay, but he's not the driver.
No, he can't be the driver. The killer is not the driver.
Okay, I got that. But the question that any detective would ask is, why doesn't the would-be purchaser drive himself? Why does he need somebody to drive him?
Because they've done that's a good question.
Okay, how in the hell does somebody justify having 2 different guns and shooting somebody in the back of the head 4 times and claiming that that's somehow or another self-defense?
They didn't know that I was going to get an autopsy report, because when I spoke to the sheriff told me I was lying about. He said that it wasn't true. That my son.
Now you have to clean up your presentation because you're bouncing all over the place.
Yes.
Nobody, some folk aren't as smart as I am, and listening to what you have to say, they may not get it.
Yes, sir.
So what I just described to you, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it is a potential description of the crime that occurred. You've got at least 2 people outside of your son Over a series of months that are documented by text, your son, who is a responsible individual, adult, is induced to sell a pistol to a certain somebody who is a suspect. This suspect, nominal suspect, says he shot your son in self-defense, but 4 bullets from 2 different guns are fired into the back of your son's head from 2 feet away. And there's a driver whose identity the police refused to reveal to you. Now, this same set of 2 people is involved in another homicide on the same day that's supposed to be ruled a suicide. Now, how do you have them involved in a suicide? What are they supposed to be doing? Act where we'll hold your hand while you kill yourself?
Well,
see, that stinks so badly. Let me ask you this question. Have you gone to the FBI?
Well, we met with agents last week. FBI. Oh, no, you said the FBI. Okay, I thought you said the GBI. Okay, no. I would love to get to the FBI. I would love to get to the FBI.
Why don't you go?
How? To the one in DC? I want to go to DC.
No, they have a local FBI office. You can go there to start matters.
Oh,
have you gone to Georgia Bureau of Investigation?
Yes, you have to be invited. They have to be invited to look into the case by a sheriff or a DA. And they're covering up the killer's name as well. They never released.
Okay, now that's your in to the FBI. If you can't make a complaint because you have to be invited, then
wait. So
since this involves
can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Have you reached out to the DA? Because if you have to be invited by the sheriff or the DA, then you could go through the DA to then go to the FBI. So have you reached out to your district attorney?
Yeah, so the district attorney is a part of the corruption. She's very well aware.
With that.
Yeah, what is her name?
With that.
What is the DA's name?
Dahlia Racine. So Dahlia Racine in Douglas County is a part of the corruption as well. She knows very well that my son was shot 4 times in the back of the head. No one from Douglas County Sheriff's official told me that my son was shot 4 times in the back of the head. I had to find that out through my own autopsy report, which they very well knew.
But here's my question.
Okay.
Have you called her office or had your lawyer call her office to say, I want you to investigate this, or at least help me have the FBI come in and investigate it? Like, have you took the initiative and personally reached out to the office? And you could have been rejected, but have you?
Yeah, so I've reached out. National Action Network, Al Sharpton, director of National Action Network.
Damn him, he's a piece of shit. Leave
he
him
is a piece of shit. I agree.
And remember, he's now Reverend Radigan, where he admits to being an informant, confidential.
Yeah, that's so. He acted
Leave him the hell out of this.
I had to learn the hard way.
Now let's get back. Let's get back to realities. Now, I'm not telling you how to do this, but let me, and I'm not giving you legal advice right now. You have an attorney, but may I suggest that when you go back over your evidence, when you talk to somebody, lead with this. Look, my son was murdered, in my opinion. I have acquired an autopsy, independent autopsy. It reveals my son was shot at close range 4 times in the back of the head with 2 different guns. All right? My son, according to statements, was sitting in the front seat of the vehicle. There was a driver that local law enforcement refuses to divulge. Somehow or another, after being on the scene at the invite of the acknowledged shooter, my son is slain. Now, next thing is we also have another interesting incident. It appears at least one of the individuals involved in this homicide is involved in another one on the same day that has been ruled to be a suicide. My son's homicide or killing or death has been ruled the result of a justifiable homicide because somebody was attempting to defend himself by shooting my son in the back of the head at close range 4 times with 2 different guns. Now, what does that suggest to you?
Criminals on the run.
No, it suggests that somebody was murdered. Now, you give me a story where you start off the way you did and somebody is drifting off and these are busy guys. Imagine, if you will, with the volume of business that some FBI agent might have, he is one of these board clerks standing in the front waiting on a line of people at a DMV to complain about it's not fair for them to have gotten a ticket because their registration was 2 days out of date. They're zoning out and they aren't paying you a bit of attention, or they're confused trying to figure out what's going on. So you have to get your story consistent when you talk to somebody. I'm not telling you what to say, but I'm just describing how it might be delivered in a more coherent fashion. I give you my condolences for the loss of your son, who seems to have been a fine young man. I really feel for that because there's too much of that going on. But right here, we're for business. We're trying to give you the opportunity to get your story out. But if it goes out in an incoherent fashion, it doesn't help you. You get what I'm saying here? This is business.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not representing you, but I've done this for 50 years.
And I trust
So
you.
after a half century, well, no, you're not trusting me. I'm just a loudmouth standing on the street corner as far as it goes because I'm not retained to represent you.
I trust
I'm not
your
in that
experience.
business anymore. Well, I'm giving you this just to say a law professor who is making observations, or a reporter, or somebody who is just saying, I'm being a detective, and basically you're getting a pro bono gratuitous effort on my part as a detective to analyze what's going on. I'm not doing this as a lawyer, all right? Understand, but get what I'm talking about. You need to go elsewhere. The FBI, under the current administration, is very interested in the state of Georgia. Remember, the president of the United States, who's been held over and over again to be the chief executive under whom the Justice Department operates, under whom the FBI operates, under whom the U.S. Marshal's Office operates, under whom firearms I'm forgetting the initials. I don't know. It's just a momentary blank. Operate. You have all these federal agencies that are involved. You also have firearms involved. So you have alcohol, ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Yeah. So you've got these federal agencies. You can go see all of them and say something's going wrong here, because there is an impact on interstate commerce, because there is an impact in terms of federal funds. The feds have some jurisdiction. So go to the agencies.
Did you mean to say ATF?
ATF, firearms. ATF, yeah, ATF. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. It used to be ATBF, alcohol, tobacco, and Bureau of Firearms and Explosives. But they bounce around on what they call themselves from decade to decade. So anyway, you've got people to go to. I would suggest strongly that you go see them. Is your congressman Republican or Democrat?
The state representative is showing it's a...
No, I didn't say state representative. U.S. congressman.
Oh, the U.S. Congressman. What a Democrat, right?
Okay. Is your United States Senator Republican or Democrat? I mean, I know the
That's a
answer, but
that's a Democrat.
you
The
should know.
Democrat state.
Yeah, you've got Warnock, right?
Yes, Democrat.
Idiot. Idiot.
Yeah.
So what goes on is since you have no local relief and they're trying to protect Fannie and uh, LaButte and all the rest of the group, there is obviously some kind of cabal that is not in everybody's best interest. The United States Department of Justice would be very interested in this. So get with them. You've got a U.S. attorney for your district, your federal district. Contact his office. You see, what you're also describing, if in fact there is this activity by the people at the top, you have various federal laws that are being violated. So you have federal jurisdiction again. So there are people that you would have access to who have very little empathy for the local circumstances who might be able to help you because they don't particularly like what's happening in certain areas. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? So the state senator Warnock, and then somebody, a white guy, also for someone. Well, what about the congressional members in the House? Because there's multiple ones out of Georgia. Should she contact them as well, or just go to senator's office?
The problem with the senator's office is Warnock now.
But no, but in
what
the
I'm
House,
saying is,
but in the House, wait,
forget all of
now in the House you have Marjorie Greene and several others. So
yes.
should she?
I was gonna go there, but first thing you do to legitimate what you walk through Marjorie Greene's front door with is that you've gone to the U.S. Attorney, you've gone to the FBI, you've also perhaps contacted ATF, who's interested since firearms are involved, and there was a sale of firearms, a potential one that's involved. That's their bailiwick. You walk in with, I have gone to these entities. I need help because of the corruption that's going on. Then you find a Marjorie Taylor Greene who would be glad to raise hell, I'm sure, if somebody presented it to her as a legitimate situation. However, when you walk through somebody's door like that, you need to have your story coherent, laid out in logical form, not from the beginning to the end, but it's suggested that you hit the main point at the beginning and then you explain how you arrived at that conclusion later.
Yeah.
Now, that might help you out in terms of getting justice done for your son and for yourself.
All right. So I want to get your last remarks, Kenya. And I want to appreciate you coming on, sharing your story, and definitely want to do a follow up. So I want to get your last remarks. Anything else you want to say to this?
No, I've taken notes on what we need to do with the ATF, with the FBI and the U.S. Attorney and the United States Department of Justice, and
I do have one question for
how
you.
to present.
One question. Your DA, your district attorney in Douglas County, Georgia, is a woman?
Correct.
Is she black or is she white?
She looks mixed up with stuff, but she's black.
Okay. And then the sheriff,
Everyone is black.
Okay. So Douglas County leadership
is black.
Is black. Okay.
Yes. So that's another thing.
Black and Democrat.
Yeah, black and Democrat, but and Republicans paid for them. It's all kind of stuff going on in Douglas County.
In other words, it's a nest of corruption.
Absolutely.
And nobody, see, what suggests itself is from what you are describing peripherally, you're touching around the edges, at the core, something is going badly wrong.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. The nucleus is corrupted.
Like with Fannie Willis's trouble, the press is not touching on it because of their general incompetence, but it looks like essentially there's $7.5 million that's missing that was allocated from the state legislature to her office to deal with catching up on overdue prosecutions in general. 2 million for prosecuting sex crimes and $500,000 for juvenile matters, and that's $10 million that's missing that was appropriated to the benefit of her office. So the state legislative body is interested in that. And you see how this whole thing got opened up just because she went after Mr. Trump and several other people, quite a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't work. So what are they doing with their time? And why is it that we have so many deaths in the Fulton County Jail? That's what we've been focusing on. And what is LaButte's background in law enforcement? 3 years as a deputy jailer and career as a gay porn star in video. So what's going on here? How does such a person get elected?
And who is
How
the
does
sheriff?
such a person
What is
get
the
in
sheriff?
control of such money, and how many people die?
What is the sheriff's name of Douglas?
Yeah, and you got a sheriff there.
What is his name?
Timothy Pounds.
Okay. And he was elected in as well.
Yes, he's an elected official. Yes.
Okay. Black guy.
So you know how
Yes.
this works? Yeah. Okay. Johnson, The Rock, played Sheriff Buford Pusser in a comedy, but the real Buford Pusser got murdered. What the press has not done is this. Guess who the shadow individual that the first movie that really dealt with the assassination of Buford Pusser was talking about? There was this villain. It turned out to be the governor of Tennessee, who controlled the highway rackets, gambling rackets, moonshine rackets, prostitution rackets, and drug rackets. Ray Blanton. All right. Nobody's made a movie about that or brought it out, but you had corruption in Tennessee connected from highest to the lowest with the district attorney at the time. You had it with the governor of the state of Tennessee, who was a Democrat. And now you have an equal situation where you have a problem where you are. But just like in Buford Pusser, where nobody brings this out in a movie or a presentation or a book, same thing is happening down there. And it's just this long-term pattern of where it spreads from certain places, like where you are, this habit of certain people being able to get away with murder.
Again, thank you, Kenya. I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. And you definitely have my condolences. That's a parent's nightmare. Like
It is. It is. It's
nightmare.
And I hope that this can get other mothers to stand up and fight, because I've had a lot of people that called from Douglas County, Georgia, a lot of families that have experienced similar injustice, but they didn't have the courage or the know-how or you're grieving to do that. So I'm hoping that I can encourage someone and to speak up about all of this corruption in Douglas County, because it has to come to an end. I've been told that, oh, they're going to get you. They monsters out there. You're going against them. But I don't care. I'm doing what Yahweh put me here to do. This is the mission at hand. Thank God I have people like Pink, street groomers, that are on this journey with me. And it's just, we're going to rock it out until the wheels fall off, because
justice for your son.
Yeah, it's not right.
May I present that suggest that when you go in to talk to these people, dress like you're going to a funeral.
Yeah. Because that's exactly what it is.
You have on what would be appropriate at a funeral. All right?
Yes, sir.
Don't look trendy. Do not look like you're going to a nightclub or out on a date.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. And listen, again, if any of you out there have, no matter what state, city you live in, if you feel as though any type of injustice happening to you, send me an email, danawiththedata@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Let me say something. I again extend my condolences and I apologize for my brusque manner, but you are approaching me to take care of a problem. I'm not here to hold your hand, and in today's climate, it would be totally inappropriate if I even offered to hold your hand. You know, we have gotten so far away from that kind of thing. But I apologize for the brusque methodology, but I'm trying to help you get your point across when you talk to the people that you need to talk to. And Madam Pink, see what you can do to help out. All
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely.
I respect everything you told me today, sir, and I took it to heart. I made notes. I thank you for your wisdom. I love constructive criticism, so I thank you.
It wasn't criticism.
What it makes me better.
Observation and suggestion. I can't give you instruction. Some clown down there might try to get me for unauthorized practice of law.
Well, we thank you, and this is my son, and we thank you. This is his program that I had for him, but we definitely thank you guys.
My condolences again.
Yes.
And by the way, when you walk in, show the back part of that to the people you're talking to.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And appreciate you. Appreciate you too, LA Pink. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Video. All right.
Absolutely.